Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'll be giving you my first impressions on Journey to the Savage Planet. Journey to the Savage Planet is a first-person action-adventure game developed by Typhoon Studios and published by 505 Games. You play as the newest recruit of Kindred Aerospace, who are the fourth best interstellar space exploration company. Your job is to determine if the planet, in this case ARY-26, is fit for humans. Now the game starts you off in your ship after it crash landed on ARY-26. You're greeted by your ship's AI, Echo.
Welcome. My name is Echo, and I'm here to help guide you on your mission. But
Echo acts as your guide pretty much through the entire game, and is there to provide with helpful tips, mission updates, and my personal favorite, jokes and comments about wildlife. Now moving on to the gameplay. Savage Planet lends itself way more towards exploration than combat. The game has a sort of Metroidvania approach to exploring, which is something that you don't usually see in first-person games. Going around scanning the various types of flora and fauna was a bunch of fun. Everything I scanned had a little fact attached to it.
exactly like a normal
There is a satisfying card system that punches a little collected stamp on everything you scan. Speaking of collecting, Savage Planet has some collectathon elements attached to it. For example, the upgrade tree has numbers attached to it to keep track. And then there's the codex, which is where all the weird things you scan show up. These small touches are what made me want to continue to scan everything. Typhoon Studios did a wonderful job at designing the structure of this whole game. As I mentioned, exploration and progression takes a Metroidvania approach, meaning you need upgrades acquired later on in the game to access areas you can see early in your adventure. Apart from that, the game looks great. There are a lot of neon pinks and greens that stick with the whole alien theme of the game. There's also a bunch of different biomes in the game, from floating islands with waterfalls to cave systems full of lava, each biome offering opportunities to gain new upgrades to help you in your travels. The map also has a bunch of verticality to it. There's plenty of little crevices to explore, and Savage Planet rewards creative exploring with hidden stuff like resources and skill points. The game also features a photo mode, which I always appreciate. There's some neat looking filters that can give your photos a comic book feel, which is very fitting for the setting. However, Planet ARY-26 is not all sunshine and rainbows. Plenty of the local creatures are out to kill you, from giant flying jellyfish to armored beasts. The combat is satisfying. Fluid movement that benefits exploration actually pairs greatly with the pistol you're given. You also have the ability to dash left or right, which is actually necessary to get to some foes' weak points, as not all enemies can get killed by just shooting them. Aside from the pistol, there are also a couple more unconventional methods I found defeating enemies. For example, some of the local flora can actually be used at your disposal during combat, with the right upgrades of course. Collecting bomb flowers and toxic bulbs can really prepare you for some of the tougher fights. I think my favorite aspect of Savage Planet is it's just packed full of charm. For example, at the start of the game you're actually asked to choose what character you are. Now me, being a dog lover, chose the dog, only to find out it actually made my character a dog, barking when I found upgrades and panting when I ran out of stamina. Then there are the infomercials that Kindred Aerospace cleverly funnel to your ship. Typhoon Studios must have had a bunch of fun making these. Every time I went back to my ship to craft upgrades, a different advert would be playing in the background, each of them advertising a product from the future. Their carefree nature of the space company you're working for just added to the overall enjoyment of the game.
Bad thoughts? Wipe 'em. Ill feelings? Wipe 'em. Tragic memories? Wipe 'em.
The game's sound design is also pretty good. Things like the loud slap of your melee attack and the ambient sounds of unknown creatures calling in the distance, making you feel completely alone, really added to my immersion. The soundtrack was fun. Once you engage in combat, there's a nice mix between country and rock music. It almost reminded me of the stuff you'd hear in the Borderlands games. Now, I only ran into a couple problems during my initial hours of the game. The first being that sometimes the quest markers are a little bit vague and require you to find routes that are out of the way to access them. Maybe that's part of the exploration gameplay, but it came off as a little confusing to me. The other was a little later on in my playthrough, where the game forces you into combat sequences while you're just casually exploring. In my opinion, I like the surprise of it, but I know there are some people who would just treat it like a chore. And that about wraps it up for my first impressions. Journey to the Savage Planet has been a refreshing gaming experience for me that's bursting with charm. Being able to explore this uncharted planet and learn more about the mysteries it contains is something I can't wait to put more time into. If you're into space exploration games or just want a break from normal, definitely check this one out. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, then feel free to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.